Every single aspiring trader runs into the exact same problem. How in the world do you get the experience you need to actually make money in the live markets without, losing your shirt in the process? Well, let's break down how the pros solve this exact issue.
I want you to think about it like this for a second. Would you ever get on a plane if you knew the pilot had only ever read books about flying? Of course not. That's a terrifying thought. Pilots need to practice, but you can't just throw them in a real jumbo jet on day one.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. They start in a flight simulator, and it's the same for traders. You need a safe, controlled space to learn the ropes, build that crucial muscle memory, and see what you're made of. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now.
So this really gets to the heart of the trader's dilemma. To get good at this, you absolutely need hands-on practice in an environment that feels real. It has to mimic real market conditions, but, and this is the most important part, without the risk of losing your hard-earned money. This isn't just a suggestion, it is non-negotiable.
Okay, so where do you start your training? Well, we're going to start with the absolute essentials, the foundational tools for every new trader out there: broker demo accounts and paper trading platforms. Let's get you into your first cockpit.
So a broker demo account is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a practice account that your broker gives you, and its purpose is really simple. It lets you practice placing trades, managing your positions, and just getting the hang of the software, all with fake money. No financial risk whatsoever.
But, and I really have to stress this, not all demo accounts are the same. A good one gets you ready for the real world. It has realistic fees, real data. A bad one, though? It gives you perfect, instant fills that never happen in reality, and it builds these incredibly dangerous habits that will absolutely get you wrecked in a live market. You have to make sure your simulator is as close to reality as possible.
Now, another fantastic tool you should know about is the paper trading feature on TradingView. This isn't some separate account. It's built right into what is arguably one of the most popular and powerful charting platforms on the planet. This lets you practice right where you're doing all your thinking and analysis.
And the advantage here is just huge. You can be looking at a chart, see a setup, and boom, place a practice trade on that exact same screen. Plus, you can use their bar replay feature to go back in time and test your ideas on old price data. It's an incredible learning environment all in one place.
All right, so once you've gotten the hang of the basics on a demo account, it's time to really put the pedal to the metal. We're going to accelerate your learning with some more specialized tools. Think of this as graduating from basic flight training to advanced combat maneuvers.
First up is market replay software. Now, just imagine for a second, what if you could trade a huge news event from last year or a specific market crash, and you could do it over and over and over again, all in one afternoon? That's what this software lets you do. It compresses months, even years of market action into a few hours of super focused practice. The process is really simple, but it's so powerful. You just pick a day, maybe an FOMC announcement or an earnings release. You replay the price action at whatever speed you want. You can even fast forward the boring parts, and you just drill your execution on the important moments. You can practice the same setup 20 times in an hour until it's second nature. Now, for those of you who want the most realistic, high-fidelity experience you can possibly get, the next level up is a dedicated trading simulator. These are like the professional, multi-million-dollar flight simulators of the trading world.
Yeah, these things go way beyond a basic demo account. They let you simulate all the frustrating real-world stuff like slippage, which is where your order gets filled at a worse price than you wanted. They can simulate news events, and they give you incredibly detailed reports on your performance, shining a spotlight on exactly where your weaknesses are.
Okay, so you've practiced your execution. You're getting good at clicking the buttons. But how do you actually know for sure if your strategy works over the long haul? This is where we make a huge shift from just practicing a process to proving you have a real edge using cold, hard data. And we do this through a process called backtesting. This step is absolutely critical. Backtesting is where you take your trading rules, your exact entry and exit criteria, and you test them systematically against years and years of historical market data. This is what tells you if your strategy actually had a statistical edge in the past.
But listen, just running a quick, simple backtest isn't good enough. A really rigorous process uses advanced statistical methods to make sure your strategy wasn't just overfit to the past data. That's a huge trap, where a strategy looks amazing in hindsight but falls apart in the real world. This is all about generating real, statistical proof that you have a repeatable advantage.
And now, we get to it. The final, and honestly, the most critical step of all.
You've practiced, you've tested, you've got the data. So how do you actually make that leap from the simulator to trading with real money on the line?
Before we get into the steps, you have to burn this idea into your brain. The entire point of all this practice is to perfect your process, not just to see a positive P&L. A lucky win where you broke all your rules? That's a failure. A small, disciplined loss where you followed your plan to the letter? That is a success. This mindset is literally everything.
So to make your practice actually mean something, you have to treat it like it's real. I mean, use a realistic account size, stick to your plan no matter what, and keep a detailed journal of every single trade. This is how you build the discipline you're going to need when real emotions like fear and greed start screaming in your ear.
So, how long do you stay in the simulator? The rule of thumb here, and you should not cut corners on this, is a minimum of 3 to 6 months of consistent profitability while perfectly following your process before you even think about going live. Seriously, no exceptions.
When you finally make that transition, it needs to be slow. I'm talking painfully slow. After you've proven yourself on demo, you go live with the absolute smallest position size possible. Your goal at this stage is not to make money. It's simply to get used to the psychological pressure. Only after you prove you can stick to your plan with real money do you start to gradually, very slowly, increase your size over the coming months.
Because you have to understand, the biggest challenge when you go live is not the market, it's your own mind. The fear of losing money and the greed of wanting more are going to be 100 times stronger. Your trading journal now becomes your most vital tool for tracking not just your trades, but your own emotional state.
And in the end, it all comes down to this one simple truth. When you go live, your number one job is not to make a profit. Your number one job is to protect your capital. Preserving your money is what keeps you in the game long enough to learn from your mistakes and eventually find success.
Look, we've covered all the tools, the simulators, and the entire process to build your skills. But all the practice in the world means absolutely nothing without the discipline to execute your plan when real money and real emotions are on the line. So the final question isn't about your strategy or your tools. It's about you. Are you ready to build that discipline?